War in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, a war on terrorism with no end in sight, curtailed liberties in the United States. All this can be traced back to the attacks of September 11, 2001. America lost more than 3 buildings and almost 3,000 innocent citizens that day. A traumatized nation lost the will to critically examine who was truly responsible. Within an hour of the attacks, one man, Osama bin Laden, was labeled the person responsible. But when the government produced a confession tape of Osama, many people noticed the dark, swarthy man did not even resemble Osama. 5 years after 9/11, the CIA had quietly disbanded its Get Bin Laden squad, and the FBI admitted it had no hard evidence of bin Laden's involvement. So who was truly behind the attacks which completely changed the complexion of American life? The answer may be found within a new book by award-winning journalist and New York Times best-selling author Jim Marrs. Drawing on government documents and mainstream media reports, Marrs provides answers to questions largely ignored or brushed off by the Bush administration's belated and hand-picked 9/11 Commission. Questions such as, did war game exercises confound our normal air defense system? And if so, how did the hijackers know when to coordinate their attack with the war games? How could a Boeing 757 jetliner with a 124-foot wingspan leave a hole only 20 feet wide in the Pentagon with no signs of wings sheared off? Who allowed 140 Saudis, including 24 members of the bin Laden family, to fly across country during the no-fly time following 9/11? What caused the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7, which was not hit by airplanes nor suffered significant fires? How could this 47-story building have collapsed and not seriously damaged the buildings next to it? Why did so many New York fire and policemen mention bombs going off at the World Trade Center? Why were there no large sections of concrete left over from the collapse of the towers? What could have reduced all that concrete to powdered dust? And why was the steel from the towers allowed to be taken out of the country before any independent investigation? Why has there been no further mention of the deadly anthrax attacks following 9/11? And why were White House staffers given anthrax antidote days before the attack? Who was behind the suspicious stock trades prior to 9/11 that indicated foreknowledge, and why did they track back to the CIA? What about the pre-planning for an invasion of Afghanistan long before 9/11? And who was behind the lucrative gas pipeline deal there? And who has allowed the opium trade to reach record levels since the U.S. occupation? Why is the Posse Comitatus Act, which protects American citizens from being policed by the military, being systematically ignored? Why did no one in Congress read the entire Patriot Act before passing it? Was 9/11 allowed to happen like Pearl Harbor, or perhaps fabricated like the Gulf of Tonkin incident?
No matter how smart a person may be, if he or she is operating from incomplete or erroneous information, there's absolutely no way they'll ever be able to make a correct decision on any given subject. This is why I earnestly urge you to read my book, The Terror Conspiracy, so that you will have all the available information about 9/11 and can put it into a broader context. We must not lose our precious liberties due to fear, propaganda, and ignorance. Be a free and thinking American. Be informed.